Well, hi, I didn't see you there. We're here in Oklahoma City to discuss the 2012-2013 Oklahoma City Thunder season, courtesy of SB Nation and WelcomeLoudCity.com. And as we sit here in this beautiful city, you have to wonder, where are the Thunder going to finish next season? Are they going to finish number 1? Are they going to finish number 2? Are they going to finish number 3? Are they going to finish ahead or behind the Lakers or the Spurs? And I think there's no question right now that the top 3 contenders in the West are the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Spurs. It's all just a matter of where they're going to finish. And in the West, I have to think that the Thunder are going to finish 3rd in the regular season. Because the Thunder, as great of a team as they are, they're just not built for the regular season. They're young, they don't face injuries, but at the same time, they rely on 2 stars to get almost 50% of their points. And that's a whole lot of production to put on 2 guys. So even though they're really, really good, there are nights where Westbrook is going to be off, there are nights where Kevin Durant is going to be off, and there are even nights where Harden's going to be off and it's going to screw up the team. I mean, anything could happen in a game, in a mid-season game against the Bobcats. You never know. They could win. I mean, they did win last year, believe it or not. So I think that the Thunder will finish 3rd because, the Lakers, they've got a great starting lineup, guys who can cover for other guys don't have to perform every single night. And the Spurs, they've got a really deep lineup. They go about 12 men deep. Any person on that bench could contribute. And you're always going to have an X factor step up every single game. So while I think that they're going to finish high, they're going to be 3rd, they're going to have 58, 59 wins. I think that the Spurs and the Lakers are going to finish ahead of them. They're going to be somewhere in the 60-win range. There's a lot of parity in the West this year, so there are going to be some pretty good teams at the top. You might be wondering why I'm standing next to a doghouse. And well, there's 2 reasons for this. The number 1 reason is that Thunder play-by-play announcer Brian Davis loves to call Kevin Durant the junkyard dog. And the number 2 reason is that it's the exact opposite of where Kevin Durant will be this season. In fact, I'd go so far as to say he's going to be the team's MVP, or most valuable player. Now, again, there are 2 reasons why I think that Kevin Durant is going to be the Thunder's most valuable player. And we can discuss this to death. We can talk about Kevin Durant all day, but these are the 2 main reasons why I think he's going to be the MVP. The number 1 reason is that he's consistent. There's a reason he challenged Michael Jordan for consecutive games, for the record for consecutive games scored with 25 points each. He can score night in and night out, and even on the nights he's not scoring, he's going to contribute in other ways. His defense has improved massively since his first season, if you haven't watched him since then, and his rebounding has improved as well. He's actually probably the best rebounder we have on the team. And the other reason Kevin Durant is so good is because he's virtually unguardable. There are other teams who have had successful nights against Kevin Durant, but those nights are few and far in between. The guy is 6'10", he can slink and slither around the defense, he's athletic, he has unlimited range. He hit a shot from 3/4 court earlier in the preseason. That's just a test, and it was like a turnaround jumper too. That's just a testament of how great Kevin Durant is. So I really think that he's a star that sets the Thunder, his assets are going to set the Thunder apart in the West this year. The last thing I'm here to discuss with you today is the team's X factor, which is pretty obviously James Harden. Now, James Harden's situation is pretty murky because we don't know whether he's going to be signed beyond next season. That's not this season, but next season. And we don't know whether he's going to sign a contract extension by the end of October, as of this preview. And if he doesn't, then how well he performs this season could really affect his market value. Now, like it or not, most people remember him from his terrible performance in the NBA Finals. So I think similarly, how well he performs in this year's playoffs or next year's playoffs is really going to determine his market value. Now, if he doesn't perform well towards the end of the Thunder's playoff run, that could be disastrous, and it could actually end up helping the Thunder. But from a strictly basketball point of view, you want him to perform well, and where we really need him to perform well is the clutch, because he provides that 3rd option to get the pressure off Durant and Westbrook when the team knows who they need to guard. And if he's scoring consistently, then it keeps the other team's defense guessing, because we've got 3 options to pass in between rather than 2, and our big men don't provide much hope for scoring at this point. So you really need James Harden in there as the X factor to help the team. So anyway, that's all from me in Oklahoma City. I'm going to swing it over to J.A. Sherman in the stylish hat to finish out this season preview.
Hey Thunder fans, this is Sherman here, and I'm going to pick up where Zeb left off and address a few more questions as we head into this 2012-2013 season. The one thing that's on everybody's mind this year is what's going to happen with James Harden. And aside from the contractual aspect of it and where he's going to be in the long term, I think that the contract saga does have the potential to undermine a lot of what the Thunder are about, and it may cause the team to struggle as a result. And the reason why is that he, as a young player, is really entering this contract negotiation for the first time. And contracts, especially when you're talking about what is a player worth to himself as well as to the league, it's very easy to get a lot of different perspectives. Now, certainly we've gotten enough evidence based on reports and our own conjecture that Harden is probably worth the maximum contract. So the question is, are the Thunder going to pay him that, or is he going to be willing to take something less to help the Thunder out, or will the Thunder have to pay that, or is he going to try and sign with another team? All of this uncertainty does have the potential to undermine both Harden and the team, because their entire ethos has been constructed on hard-working attitude, team-first togetherness, and with this kind of distraction, especially because the team is so young, does have the potential to undermine a lot of what they're about. And so it's something that we want to keep an eye on, especially in the first few months of the season. And the example that we can look to is actually something that happened last season when Russell Westbrook was also in the process of negotiating his contract extension. If you recall, over the first 2 months of last season, Russell Westbrook had a really tough time. It seemed like he wasn't really sure what his role was on the team. He played more tentatively than we're used to. He had a number of high turnover games, and he just didn't look like himself. And I'm not saying that it's conclusive that it was only because of his contract situation, but we do know through what we saw after the month of January and then February that once those things got resolved, he reached a new level of playing performance, and he took that on right through the playoffs. And so, looking at Harden's situation, there is the potential for that, especially as if he does not resign within the next week, and this stretches out through the whole season, he's going to be going through a lot of cities, seeing a lot of players on other teams, and I'm sure there's going to be whispers and all sorts of things that might say, hey, would you like to come to Phoenix? Hey, would you like to come to Dallas? And so it's going to be on him to either be able to put those aside or start to entertain them. So that's the thing that we want to look at the most for an area of concern. Second question that we want to look at is, who do we think is going to win the conference, and who do we think is going to win the title? And of course, intertwined with that question is, what do we think about the Lakers? Because the Lakers are the team that's made the biggest moves in this offseason, acquiring both Steve Nash and Dwight Howard. The Thunder beat them in 5 games in last year's playoffs. The 2 reasons why were, one, because Kevin Durant had shown a great deal of maturity since the last time he had faced the Lakers in the playoffs in 2 seasons prior, and he no longer struggles the way he used to against Metal World Peace in the past. Metal World Peace would use his strength and his agility and his game know-how to throw Durant off his game. Last year that wasn't the case any longer, so I think that's not going to be fixed with the Lakers acquisitions. The second one is Russell Westbrook. Westbrook had no trouble at all penetrating the front line of the Laker defense. He was going by the point guard and the shooting guard, whether it was Kobe or Steve Blake or whomever, without any trouble whatsoever. And between his penetration into the lane and his free throw line jump shooting, he was a major reason why the Lakers had no answers for what the Thunder were trying to do. So while I think the situation certainly is closer than it was last year, I still think that the Thunder have the psychological advantage, and they have the talent to still beat the Lakers. Now, I do think the Lakers are actually going to finish with a higher seed. They'll probably finish with the 1 seed because of their acquisitions. And I'm guessing the Thunder will probably end up with around 60 wins, about 2 more wins percentage-wise than last year. And so it is likely that they'll probably have to play each other in the playoffs, but I think the Thunder's talent and their ability to exploit these matchups will be the difference, and they'll find themselves back in the finals next year. And most likely against the Heat, it's going to be a rematch. Now, who wins in the rematch? Well, I think it's going to be a different outcome. Thanks for listening, and we're looking forward to this season.